I'm saying? So that helped a little bit. But, you know, just popping out occasionally, you know, going to the R&B set. They got this Producer Mondays now at New Blue whenever the world comes back to normal. You know, so it's just showing your face in the scene, in the spaces you want to be. And then eventually you go from being a jazz player to a horn player, you know, and then that way you can navigate all the scenes, you know.
So you say you just now breaking through that stuff after being there for 7 years.
I mean, yeah, you know, I had a couple of dates with a couple of pop artists this year. You know, that I wouldn't have necessarily gotten those calls 3 years ago.
Okay. And that's just from network and all that stuff. Do you still have to constantly network now, even though you've been there for 7 years? Is that something that's like an automatic necessity?
New York is a place where you can be forgotten pretty quickly. Not that you're forgotten, but I don't think the forgotten is the word. But it's a place where you're you know, there's so many musicians. You know, there's so many killing musicians. So you do have to have somewhat of a presence. You know, again, I work in New York. I probably work, I don't know, 4 to 5 nights a week. I mean, you know, at least 4 to 6. Sometimes I have multiple gigs in the same night. So a lot of times, either before or after the gig, I'll just try to, you know, I'm gonna pop in a couple places this week, you know, just to keep the presence there, man. But I mean, you know, I just like to be out anyway, so it ain't a huge deal for me. But you know, I mean, networking is always good. I'm always meeting somebody new. It's always either somebody new coming or somebody old that I never met, you know. So you know, it's been cool, but I've been lucky, you know. Usually, like after work, I could just go out and you know, hit a bar or whatever, you know, network a little bit.
How has education been like how have you been able to fit that into what you do? Because a lot of people think that once you get into education, you know, your playing suffers or your ability to play suffers. How have you been able to balance that?
I've been very privileged, man. I've been able to perform with a lot of performance-based educational opportunities. Jazz at Lincoln Center, I started doing jazz for young people. You know, I started with Brian Carter. He started hiring me, and then, you know, just meeting people around the scene, getting hired by a couple of folks. I was working with Jonathan Edward Thomas this year and Henry Conaway III. And, you know, as my experience as an educator helped out. But at the end of the day, they're all performance-based educational opportunities. I've been very blessed to be able to do that. But you know, like I said, you know, I love to play. So it was like being able to play and then talking about my instrument and talking about the music around it and seeing their fascination because of the fact that I could play, you know what I mean? Like seeing me be good at my job. They like, you know, and it's little kids, you know? So they like into it already. It's like, well, how you do that? And it's like, oh, well, I do this, you know? So that's been really cool to kind of be in a position to help transform students and their ideas. I've been into that. I work with this organization called Jazz Reach, and we go around the country and you know, work with different high schools and stuff. You know, so it's cool to be playing at a super high level and to have the students you know, that I've been working with want to be a part of that, you know.
Okay. Yeah,
I hope that answered the question.
No, I got you. I got you. How are you balancing all of that with, you know, some sort of love life and all of that? How do you balance that with all these hats that you're wearing? Because it's in a city with the pace of New York, it's got to be hard as shit to balance, you know, a career and education and trying to have friends. I mean, a lot of us have musician friends who you know, it's kind of a 2-for-1 on the gig. So, you know, you see your friends when you're on the gig. How do you deal with that? Because it's a lot of people don't have social lives.
I've been very blessed to one, you know, I grew up. I didn't grow up I didn't grow up a prodigy. You know, I grew up a normal person, so I know how to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of musicians don't necessarily know how to do that, especially the ones that kind of grow deep into music at an early age. You know, they have issues kind of connecting, you know, with people because we're so into the practice room where it's so insular. You see what I'm saying? It's a very natural thing why it is the way it is, but it is a factor. But for me, I've been very blessed, and I can tell, you know, people who are who are in my life, we have a understanding of, you know, I'm busy, you know, I'm making moves, but you know, if you hit me up, like I like if you need me, I'm gonna be there, you know. If you know me, you know, like if you call me, dog, it's 2 a.m, like, and if I'm up, I'm gonna answer. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never too far away. My family know that. The the woman in my life know that. Like, I ain't never too far away, ever. You know, so just try to be. For me, it's about being dependable when you get that call. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you don't stretch
because
yourself too thin.
you could be available all the time and not dependable.
For sure.
Like, I'm busy, but I feel like in my close circles, I've worked on being dependable. And some of the relationships that I've lost has been because I wasn't able to be dependable. So now I make it a priority that if somebody is in my life and they know who I am, they know this version of me, the way you know me, like me in my tank top talking. This is the first time a lot of my followers have seen me like this, ever. You see what I'm saying? So if somebody knows me for real, then, you know, they know I try to maintain the standard of, hey, I got your back. You hit me up, I got you. You know, I try to maintain that standard now and hope the people around me, you know, the people around me have the same standard, man. That, you know, I know if I call Corey for something, I know I'm gonna be good. I know if I call you for something, or Gabe or Julius, I'm gonna be good. You know, I know if I call my boy Spill or Brandon, I'm gonna be good. I call my boy, you know, if I call John Moore or Bernard, I'm good. You know, like I'm all right. You know, my boy Henry, you know, like I got people that I could count on. You know what I'm saying? Yo, shout out to Arlie Reed, man. That's my dude, man.
Yeah, buddy.
All the saxophone players, all the musicians, man. Shout out to everybody, man. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not about necessarily being less busy. It's just about being dependable.
Okay.
I could be on a flight and send money. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're at a point now where we don't need to, you know, man, we ain't talked in 3 days. Okay. So what? You know, does that mean we're not friends? You know what I mean?
Right.
You my dude regardless. You know, if you call me, I got your back. At least you should know that. If you need me, I got you. And sometimes you might just want me, and I got you. You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, I got to talk to you. Bet. Yo, what's up? Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? You know, but the people who, you know, like I said, I've just always tried to be among my peer group and try to be dependable. You know, it's something that I had to grow into, though. I wouldn't say I was dependable in college, but it's something I grew into, man. My father's death, really, I was like, okay, like there's people who need me. You know what I mean? I need to make sure that I'm available when they need me, you know?
Yeah, that, you know, again, shout out to Mr. McBride. He was the homie to everybody. He was probably the coolest dad that I've ever known. Like, he was the coolest.
I'm gonna have to post his list of stuff. I'm gonna have to post his list. You know, he has a whole sheet of things that he lived by, principles, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to post that so cats get that wisdom, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Man, he really was like the coolest dad that I knew. Like, not only from what he did, but just who he was, but also, of course, what he did and who he was as a man and a husband and a father and all that stuff. You know, he was hella cool, man, and I still miss him, man. I thought about him maybe a couple weeks ago. It's like, man, I miss that cat. You know.
Yeah, man. You know, I know for me, man, my dad, you know, I definitely grew up independent because of him. You know, I can look at my brothers. All my brothers are independent. You know, my brother in Atlanta is a barber. My brother Ronnie in Honduras, you know, he is, you know, tour guy. He be doing whatever, tour guide, bartender, whatever you need him to do, really. He'll do it all. He you know, he just one of them cats. And me, you know, I'm an independent musician. You know, but we all get that from my dad. You know, my dad he didn't want to work for nobody. You know, he liked to eat. He liked to, you know, get out the house around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You got to be at the job at 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? But but when he got to the job, he was there all day. He didn't stop until he was done with what he needed to do that day. If that means that if he had something to do and he got there around 11 and like he was not finishing until he finished his plan for the day. And you know, that's always been inspirational. You know, I've in my age, you know, I've tried to find balance. You know, I try to get my stuff done for the day, but if I don't beat myself up about it. You know, he was, you know, my dad, man, is, you know, yeah. I definitely miss him. You know, and it never gets easier. It's just a new normal. The same way this is a new normal. You know, the same way the quarantine. Yeah. Like after this quarantine, it's a new normal in our lives. But you know, it's never gonna go back to the way it was. You know, like we're always gonna remember this. You know, but at least we're in this moment together. I'm glad that I have beautiful people around me to be in this moment with. You know, some of the people around me, you know, they're like, hey man, shit is tough. Let's grind. Let's get to work. And other people are like, this is terrible, you know. And it's nice to have a balance of folks, you know. It's nice that, you know, it's nice to have all of those perspectives, you know. I got my real dark, skeptical friends. I got my real optimistic, hopeful friends. You know, I'm
the former.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the former.
I'm grateful to go through this quarantine with good people, man, including you, bro. I'm so proud of you and the work you're doing with the COVID conversations. Again, we gotta have conversations, man. We're so scared as a society to have those uncomfortable conversations, man. And we gotta talk about it, man. Like, why is jazz 2% of the market? You know what I mean? Why? It doesn't make sense. The music is too good, man. We've seen, you know, there has to be a reason or there has to be an agenda. But you know, either figuring out how to get it to a new percentage, you know. But Instagram is telling me I got 1:37 left. Who you bringing up next? Who's coming up next in the conversations?
Kendall Moore is on Friday. So for anybody watching that knows Kendall Moore, he's going to be on Friday. So that's going to be the next one. And then we were thinking about maybe moving it to Zoom or something else. But I think I like this medium. Trying to manage too many people at one time is not something I really want to take on. So with that said, I appreciate your time, Chris. We ain't going to take this too long. So
I love you, man. Listen, Hidden Gems, we got Nicole Sweeney on Friday. A DJ, a black DJ, black woman DJ, and she's going to talk about, you know, being a woman in the industry and how she feels about that. And then we're expanding to Sundays. Charles Turner is on this Sunday, May 3rd. We're going to talk to him about, you know, just his incredible vocalism. And then we're going to talk to Orrin Evans next Sunday. And then before Orrin, we got, I think Jeffrey Miller's coming in on the 5th. And I can't remember. Oh, and Junior's on the 11th. So, yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So Pat Turbrack, I see you, man.
Yeah, Patrick. Shout out to Patrick Turbrack, man. Yo, shout out to everybody. Listen, y'all keep it cool during this quarantine. And, you know, we're going to be all right. We're going to make it through this, man. I hope to see some of y'all Friday. Catch Justin's show on Friday night. Catch mine on Friday afternoon. And that's how we're going to bring it forward, all right? Y'all take care. We'll see y'all next time. Peace, man. Thank you, guys.
You got you already.